Good morning.
Good morning, Jill. Hello, Oliver, Tadek.
Hey, good morning, you all.
Good morning,
How are
guys.
you doing, gentlemen?
The brain is slowly waking up.
Yeah. What time is it over there? Is it like 6:15?
Yeah, 6:15.
Yeah, 3 hours behind, eh? All right, so here's my spiel for this morning. Today, Wednesday, April 1st. Happy April Fools. Things to know before the open. Here's a couple things that are on tap. Stock futures rise amid optimism about potential end of the war. We ended the quarter with a little bit of a spike, and the market seems to be hoping that this Middle East conflict is coming to an end. Stocks kick off Q2 after the worst quarter in 4 years. Yes, it's been quite the dip. I was showing this to one of my students yesterday. Let me go to SPY and the daily. It is quite the dip. There we go. So this was April, the tariff talk. Actually, can I do this? So what was it? Down 21%. And then this from the highs. Oops. Let's try this again. There you go. This was down almost 10%. So from the highs, we've dipped down quite a bit, but then nice big bounce yesterday. So what started yesterday dipped down on Monday. This was the close of Tuesday. We don't have today. Today we're in pre-market. We're above these highs here from Tuesday. So let's go back to the 5 things to know. Nike stock plunges on weak sales outlook. They seem to have decent numbers, but I think it was the conference call that made things really drop. Iran threatening tech giants, including NVIDIA and Apple. Interesting stuff. They're saying that something could happen as early as 12:30 today. Who knows what that means? And Friday jobs report is coming out. As far as today, there's PMI. Manufacturing PMI at 945, and then manufacturing PMI, a few 3-star news items here at 10 a.m. So in 43 minutes. Other than that, no big earnings to talk about. We are going to be starting a new earnings schedule. As far as what worked and what didn't work, I didn't have time to write anything down, but I took a few sim trades in with futures. As I've mentioned many times, I'm slowly getting back. Well, slowly. It's going to be pretty quick, actually, getting back into futures. And I'll talk about those in a bit. As far as where price is right now, it's going to be similar for everything. We have pulled back in the last 30 minutes. We were making new highs and then pulling back, depending if we find support over here. But from where price is, there's not a lot of room to the left here. Right, we were just there post-market yesterday. What I'm interested in is what happens when and if, or if and when, the market gets back to the highs over here. That's where I really want to see what happens. Other than that, I want to see what happens at the lows here. So we had a big spike yesterday, and then retested. Actually, that's what I took on MES, I believe. Yeah, this right here. So this was a big spike, and then the retest, and then a long from there. But I'll get back to that once the market opens. As far as where price is right now, I want to see Apple in particular get above here or close to S3. If it were to come down to S3 here, this is where I'd start paying attention. So that's why I'm putting an alert here. As far as room to the left, if it dips down here, there is room to the left to where we had a lot of buying happening. So that's where I want to see, are we getting liquidity down here for the further move up? In other words, this would just be a retracement, close to a 50% retracement for the continuation up. Or if we break down here, I want to see, do we break down with a lot of momentum? And if so, does it come back and retest for the further move down? AMD, I'll have to revisit what this is. I don't remember if I was talking about this one yesterday, but as far as AMD is concerned, on the 30-minute, very similar to Apple. It went into a zone, higher liquidity zone up here, and in pre-market, it rejected it. It put in that kangaroo tail, 30-minute kangaroo tail, and they work on higher time frames as well. I just do not like taking them personally in pre-market or after hours. However, that will be different with futures. With futures, I will be taking, and that's one of the reasons I'm getting back into futures, is to be able to be one and done at 6 a.m. Because the move often happens around 6 a.m. or at the close of the Asian markets. So that's what I'm looking for AMD. I want to see, does it pop up back up there? As far as below price, I do not see anything unless we come down to S3. And for that to happen, it would have to be retracing $5. Do I really want to take a long after a $5 drop? Possibly, but we'll see what happens to price if and when it gets down here. So I'm going to put an alert right at S3. So that's where I want to be alerted to what happens. As far as the top is concerned, I'll be watching that once the market opens, because it's going to be the same for everything, right? I want to see, what does it do at the highs? Do we continue up, or do we reject the highs? So it'll be very similar to every stock, right? Same thing here on Amazon. As far as Amazon is concerned, S3 is also a level I'd be interested in. But we put in this 30-minute kangaroo tail yesterday, so right around there should be an interesting spot, right? So I want to be alerted. Does price come back into here? And if so, then I'm going to start paying attention. Not necessarily for long or short. I just want to see what price does when we get there. Above price here is an obvious for every ticker. Google, big V reversal from a few days ago. Above price could be a potential for a continuation or a rejection. Again, that's what I want to see above here. As far as below price is concerned, I think it would have to come down to this area over here, the 286 area. Let's just put an alert right here. That's where I'd be interested in a possible retest, right? It broke out, retest for the possible move continuation higher, or if it breaks down, then it could be a short from here. That's where I'll be paying attention. Meta. Take this out. This was fib that I put on yesterday for the breakout and the retest, which worked. Excuse me. Let's put it back here just to look at it. So this was the breakout, right? Yesterday morning from the open, it dipped down here, and then we really started seeing some buying until we got to the top here, and then it retraced. Well, where did it retrace to? Right into the golden zone. So then that's where you possibly look for an entry, right? That's where you go into a smaller time frame. So let's go to the 5 and let's go look at it on the 5. Let's zoom in. There we go. So dipped into it, and then this candle right here, even though it wicked right down, it closed here, not necessarily a bullish candle. The following one was an indecision candle, but once we break the high above here, Or if you go into a smaller time frame, you look for the first 2-minute fair value gap above. So let's zoom in again. Hopefully this is making sense. The actual 2-minute fair value gap is one of my indicators. So on the 2-minute, you see that this is a very bullish candle. But if you wait for a 2-minute fair value gap to be printed, and then the retest of that 2-minute fair value gap, right? Personally, I think I would have gone in probably right around here. So if that were the case, right, because the 50% retracement is very profitable strategy. It works often. Aim for 3R, and you get that probably 12, 15 minutes later, right over here. So that was Meta yesterday. That's why I had it on there. Sorry that I'm going off track a tiny bit. Let's get back to where price is right now, and it's very similar to what I was saying before. These were the big dips from the court proceedings last week. Possibly found a bottom here where it gapped up on the 30-minute, and then the following day gapped up again. Today, what's it going to do at the highs here? That's what I want to see. As far as the lows are concerned, S3 again. So what does it do at S3? That's where I'm going to pay attention, as well as the highs. Microsoft, 30-minute. I'll revisit the I'm not quite sure why I've got these over here. I do a lot of my charting and testing on TradingView. I also have the paper trading account here that I use often, and I sometimes connect my interactive brokers to TradingView, which I will be doing once I go live with futures. Same thing with Microsoft, looking above the highs, the pre-market highs. I want to see what will it do here. It had quite the move from 2 days ago, right? That's from there, 356 to 76. So that's a $20 move. That's a few percentage points. So are we going to retrace? Did we leave buyers down here? Right. So I want to see what it does at the highs. Does it reject or does it continue? And if it does reject, does it come back to S3? Not putting an alert here because I'm not super interested in Microsoft. NVIDIA, definitely found some buyers over here where we had a big gap up. That was from Monday night into Tuesday morning, and where it is right now. Right. As far as room to the left, we have not been there in a while. There is a 30-minute fair value gap up here. I want to see what does price do above these levels. As far as pulling back, it would have to be at S3. But from where it was in pre-market, pulling all the way back to S3 here, I would have to see a lot of buying coming in. And it's likely, right? Because the buyers are in control over the past few days. And in a higher range here, when you're looking at the comparison of the last 2 days, this day was higher than this one. The trade book for Kangaroo pivot says that if we come and find support at S3, then it could be a buy over here. Tesla. Tesla, very similar story. Right, they're all behaving the same way. So we want to see what the market does once it opens, and not in the first 5 minutes. I want to see what happens in the first half hour to 45 minutes. I want to see how do the big players get involved in this. But it was a similar story with Tesla gapping up yesterday morning. That was Tuesday morning at 4 a.m. and we did not close this gap. So we are continuing in, and then does FOMO get involved? Right? Do people start seeing this going up and saying, oh, crap, I did not buy in here. Tesla's on sale right now. It's going to be a $2,000 stock in a few years. That's what some people are saying, not me necessarily. So there might be some FOMO. So on pullbacks, we might see a lot of buying coming in. As far as a pullback is concerned, I'd like to see it come back to this area over here. right? This was resistance, and then this morning it took off from there. I don't know if there was news. I was looking at the market around 7 something, and there was a big spike in everything. So if anybody has something to share there, that'd be great. Qs and SPY, similar story. What will it do at R3 over here? And if it pulls back, what happens at S3? So from where we really started seeing some buying, this is where I put in some fibs from here to here. Look at where the golden zone lies, right in the S3 support area. So I'm going to wait and see what happens in this area, or do we reject from R3 up here? Same thing in SPY. Right, SPY, let's go back to the 30-minute. There we go. So from where we started really buying yesterday, if I were to put some fibs here to here, same thing, right? Golden zone, possible support area, right into the S3 area. And S3 could be a buy area, especially when the 2-day pivot relationship between yesterday and the day before is higher. Right? It's simple. Just you look at 2 days ago, the close was there. Yesterday was higher. The close was much higher. Then the pivot relationship is higher. The possibility, sorry, the market is open for those of you who are still listening and trading the open. Good luck. This is what I'm really looking forward to is, do we take our time and pull back into this area for the continuation? Because the buyers are obviously in control right now. And there's going to be a lot of FOMO, a lot of fear of missing out, a lot of people saying, okay, if there is a pullback, we are going back to all-time highs. There's a lot of buying coming. That's what some people are saying, and that's what would cause FOMO. So let's look at our tickers over here. Apple is putting in what I like to call a KT, rejecting all of these levels over here. It's in the first minute, so I do not trust it. But I have seen these happen where it takes off and, you know, we could short it here. If it takes its time and takes 5 minutes to close, this would be something that I would absolutely take. So let's see what happens in the first 5 minutes. So that's Apple. And if it were to close right around here and close red, then I'd be looking at the 250 or possibly even a further target of yesterday's low. What else is happening? Everything's on the 5 minute. Similar candle on Amazon, but the body's getting a little bit too big. Rejection possible on Google. Remove those levels. Let's remove those. My watch is going off. I don't know what's going on. Nike 52-week low. Nike down 12%.
Yeah, I'm watching that one today to see if there's any interesting setups that come up. That's a huge sell-off.
Nike, yeah, on earnings. And you know what? If we bring them up, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't look at it very closely. Do I have Nike up here? No, let's go over here.
I'm trying to look and see when it was last this low of a price.
Yeah, they had a $52 million surprise, as in what was estimated compared to what was actually reported was $52 million higher. Obviously, that's not a massive jump. It's only 0.5%. But it just goes to show that even with positive earnings, oftentimes everything is baked in already. And I think it was their guidance. I think they were saying that there was a possibility of slowing down sales. Don't quote me on that, just from what I read in the 5 Things to Know from Investopedia this morning. Yeah, be interesting to see if we find support. There might be some buyers over here.
Wow, the level that it's currently dancing around, you're having to go back to February 2015.
Boom, right there. Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, Nike, I don't know. There's a lot of competition out there. Is it the company that it used to be? I don't know. I don't know. That is a massive drop. Hopefully, the people that are invested in it and that had shares at 180, hopefully they've been out for a long time, because that is quite a drop. Yeah. Anyway, not something I trade necessarily. Apple, let's go back to the 5-minute. Seeing a little bit of support now. This alert, not quite sure. I didn't put that in this morning. Or did I? On the 30-minute, yeah, that's what I wanted to see. See, that's the thing. I would absolutely short this, but it's hard to put a stop at 256 when possible support is at 250, 250, right around here. Right? So right over here, and then your stop is this area over here. So it's, unless you're scalping, very difficult trade to take. Let's go back to the 5-minute here. Okay, first 5-minute candle was closed. It is not a kangaroo tail that I like to trade because it closed green. The body is not at the bottom of the, see, this is a kangaroo tail right here. That's a 5-minute kangaroo tail that I would take. I would not take it in the last 5 minutes of the market, though. But look at what it did, right? That would have given you 1R easily over here. But that's the candle that I like as a kangaroo tail short, especially when it takes out liquidity over higher than price had been. Same with this, took out liquidity, but it would have had to close around the bottom and then see a lot of selling on that break. But do I really take it when possible support is right here? No. See what else is possibly shaping up. Nike, I'm going to take off my screen here. All right, this kangaroo tail over here could be a long, but I look to the left, right? And as far as room to the left, the market has been there and the market was right here. So the kangaroo tail would have to be down below here. Take out liquidity in this area here. All right, so put this candle down here and let it wick down here and have the body right at 175. Without price having been there, then it would be a possible long. I already have some alerts set in the futures market. Let's look at MNQ. This was some messing around yesterday with paper trading. I think I can remove these, right? I can't remember how to take the anyway, whatever. It's not a super distract, and it's not necessarily pertaining to this this fib over here. Let's remove this. So yeah, this is mainly a paper trading account. I don't know why TradingView doesn't put the actual arrows at the entry and at the exit. It's annoying that they don't do that for a platform that is so good. It's too bad they don't put the precise entry and exit like DOS does. So this is the candle I was talking about in pre-market. So, and it wasn't on news, like 844, massive candle. I don't know if President Trump tweeted something or put something on his Truth Social. Interesting. So as far as I'm concerned right now, if I were to start looking at Fibonacci levels, the bottom of this range over here would be the top. And then because right now we're buying. Right? I want to see what's it going to do with this wick over here, or even over top of 24,205 here. Right? Do we take this out and then sell, or do we break out and continue higher? And if we do continue higher, then I would be waiting for a 50% pullback, possibly into the area of R3 here. Was MNQ. This is MES. Very similar. Yeah, I'm going to leave this one here. What's going on with gold? A lot of sideways action. I took a sim trade on oil this morning, right here. And this was it here. There is a lot of information over here. Let's get rid of some of this. No, I need this one there. Yeah, so this was my thinking on oil. So yesterday we saw a lot of selling right here. If we were to start here, let me do this again. Right, so this is where I started a fib, right where there is a lot of selling, right? That was the impulse sell right from there. And then if you put the fib to the low over here, we see that it went into the 50 and rejected. Then it went in again. Then it started chopping around in this area. And once it makes it hot, makes new highs and goes above the 61.8, I'm no longer interested. But from here, we started selling again. Right from there. And went into here. And then again, what happens into the fib area? Actually, that's where I was here. When it rejected this level, and I had put it in a few different levels. I put it there, then I put it at the top here, and saw that it was rejecting the 61.8. And like I said, this was a sim trade. So the entry was on a 2-minute kangaroo tail right here. Actually, it was on the 5, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was on the 5 right here. It put in a rejection over here. So I went in on sim on the break of that candle, aiming for 3R, stop right above the 61.8 over here, and it hit 3R a few minutes later. Right. So entry was at 540, and yes, I was up looking at charts at 540 this morning, and then it hit at 730. So 2 hours, just under 2 hours to get 3R. And then right after it started going back, and look at what it did at Asia low. Right? Touched Asia low and then rejected. So Asia low I got from trading sessions over here. There you go. There's Asia. There's the low of Asia. I put in a level. And we've got too much information. And I actually set an alert, 10103. It didn't go off because it went to 10102. And that's what I wanted to see here. And I wouldn't have taken it because actually, yeah, maybe on this candle right here, on this rejection right here, take a low there, right, take a short there, stop above, aim for 3. There you go. I'll leave that there just to see, would it have worked? That's on a 5-minute time frame. On the 2-minute, there's a fair value gap right there. Entry after it forms and retests would have been the same entry right there. So let's just see. Would it have worked? No, I'm just going to leave it there. That's how I do my testing. Again, not really interested in taking a trade in the first little while. That's why I don't mind talking and sharing what it is I look at on TradingView and other futures, right? Other tickers is what the word I was looking for. If Apple were to put in a KT above the 256 area here and reject, this might give the setup that I've been looking for, a possible rejection of these areas. Excuse me, but we look on TradingView, possible support is not far off, right? It's right over here. So you have to make sure that you can get 3R, right? So if, let's say the entry was there, you'd have to be conservative, stop would have to be there. 3R is all the way down here, is all the way to S4. It's possible, but there's a level here that could be support, right? It was here, right? Is it going to be support here? Possibly. So this is the thinking that I go through before taking any trade. Don't always have to put all these tools on there. You can gauge it just by looking at it. Ebo, you looking at anything?
Yeah, just checking out APLD and also INTC. APLD is a crypto play, but it just hit a weekly resistance level, and I don't really like this inverted hammer, big tail here. So I'm just going to kind of look at the pullback and see what we get here. INTC also looking pretty strong.
Yeah, that's quite the 30-minute candle here that is being printed. We had a strong candle from yesterday's high. Sorry, what's this? This was yesterday's low. This was yesterday's high. Oh, pre-market low. Sorry. So we pulled back and made a higher high. So the 5-minute ORB, or the people that take trades when we break pre-market high here, was there a retest on and broke out retest and then put in this really strong candle here. So this possibly would have been an entry here on the 1 minute, and this is only 3 minutes after the open. This is very strong. If it were to slowly come back down to 45.50 area, this could definitely be an area of support. However, it would have to retrace $2. So at this point, it's already gone up quite a bit. Those are some really strong 1 minute candles here. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, very strong. I got to kind of wait on that one.
Yeah.
Pull back, and the APLD, I'm not liking so much because on that kangaroo tail, that I think you would call it.
Yeah.
We had increasing selling volume on the 5 minutes, so I don't think that's going to be my setup here, and it's close to a weekly level. So, but I'll still check it out. We'll see.
Yeah.
Still looking at Nike and Tesla and Palantir. That's kind of about it on my end.
Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Tesla.
Definitely like sitting back and kind of waiting, trading on these higher time frames. And
yeah.
Thank you, Anabi, for encouraging that, because it's making a huge difference in my trading.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah. Yeah. When I pulled back from trading the open, psychologically, you feel like you want to get involved, especially if you're looking candle by candle, and especially on the 1 minute. But once you realize that you know what? We don't know who's in charge. We don't know who is, if the buyers are in charge or if the sellers are in charge. You don't know in the first few minutes. We still don't know. I'm looking now. I mean, that INTC trade, that one we can tell. And the buyers are in command for sure. But right now, we can't tell. So, yeah, Avi was a big help with that. And just the realization that you look at your journal and you see that how many trades do you actually win your 3R in the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes? There's not a lot.
No, I would agree. And, you know, sometimes what I've seen lately is the 5-minute chart is my ideal chart. However, when price action starts to kind of get into a trend, but very slow moving, I'm not seeing my pattern in the 5-minute. If I just zoom out to the 15-minute, it's there. So again, it's good to kind of zoom out and look at a higher time frame. If you don't see, if you're a pattern trader and if you don't see it in the smaller, just zoom out the next one out.
Yeah.
And be patient, hang out. It will surface there, and then boom, you go in there. But if I go in the 15-minute, then I stay looking at the 15-minute chart. I'm not going to go back down to the 5. I'll just stay on the 15 if that's what I use for my entry, my trade, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I do something similar. I like the 5 because you can just zoom out and you can see the 30 on here, right? If I go to Tesla, let's say, right, this is the 5-minute, but if you zoom out, you're seeing 30s in here as well. You know what I mean? Like you can see the levels playing out as well. Let me get rid of some of this here. So that's the 30. We're looking at. Right now, we're a little bit lower than 30 minutes support over here, but that was when 5 p. Wait a minute, 5 a.m. Yeah, that was at 5 a.m. here, right? So we can see that we are just touching below that that area. But if I go to the 5-minute, well, there it is right there. Right, so it might be a little bit more obvious on the 30, but on the 5, I just zoom out and you can see the higher time frame by zooming out. Sometimes I like actually clicking on it and looking at it, but I don't want to look too far back because this is too much information. Right? If I'm looking at the 30, what I want to see is the last day or two. Right? And we can see here that there was a liquidity up at the top. By liquidity, I mean we had not been there in quite a while. Right, and we took it out and then started selling from here. So at this point, I want to see, this was support this morning, right? And it was the gap that opened up. This was yesterday at 8 p.m., right? The candle says 7:30, but it closed at 8 p.m. And then this morning at 4 a.m., we opened here, this 30-minute candle, and closed it. So we had this gap here, but now we've closed that gap. And that's, the market allows to close that gap. So with that level in mind, I want to see, now that we've closed this gap, what do we do? Do we start buying over here? Or now that we've pulled back this far, are we going to continue selling? I would be more inclined right now. My bias would be that we're likely to continue buying. Just for the fun of it, I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to bring Tesla up here on the 5-minute. So this was the this is where we started buying. Right, this is yesterday we started buying. We made our way up here. Right there, we did not touch the 50. So if it came down and touched the 50 over here, I'll put an alert at that price. I'd be very curious to see what does it do in the golden zone over here. very short-term double top. Some people might call this a double top, but I wouldn't, just because it was going sideways there. For me, a double top needs to come from below to form the top. But a lot of people would trade this as a double top and possibly short the break of that candle.
No, that's not good.
INTC is put on the brakes a bit. I mean, if it came and pulled back to the 46.50 area and even wick down to the low of this candle, 46.38 area, we could see a lot of buying continuing here. That would be a decent pullback.
Yeah, I was looking at APLB, and I don't like this last pullback candle, so no bueno.
So you were looking at the possibility of taking it long?
It's just kind of curious to see, but I'm not liking the price action here, even though it sort of is putting in higher lows at the moment, but no. Especially the last 5 minute, it's essentially a spinning top here. It can go either way, so I wouldn't touch that. And INTC is kind of too far extended. It's hard to tell if it's ready for distribution phase. I'm not seeing like a pullback, and so if it can get to VWAP area or something like that, get in the fib zone, yeah, maybe, but I'll stay out.
73.23. Yeah, unless your playbook, TradeBook, whatever you want to call it, your rules, your setup, unless it shows up, it's not a trade. The way I see it as being, the mathematics behind it, it has to be repeatable. It has to be mechanical. Otherwise, if it's not repeatable, if you take a trade and you win it, it's like, okay, how do I take the next one to be the same way? Well, if it's just a gamble, you can't. Right? So that's why I'm very, very strong on rules and identifying exactly what the setup is. And I mean, I can show here. I'll show you for anybody who's interested here. I'll show you one of my. This is something I shared yesterday with somebody we all know. All right, so this is what I call the kangaroo tail reversal. So this is what I call my blueprint. I want to have like an image, and I have many of these, but that's the image. That's what I want to see. Okay, first of all, there's room to the left. Right, there is a picture of what the tail looks like. Kangaroo tail, it's above a horizontal level. The candle open and close are within the range of the previous candle. Right, it would be possible to take an entry on a new low with the stop above, or you can wait for a fair value gap either on the 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute. This image is on the 5 minute. And depending, I think for this one, I'd taken an entry right here because this is a very, very obvious rejection. And this can be considered a double top as well. When this is rejected, this is where we really started selling. So this could be the entry here. But this is what I've got for an image. But then as far as rules are concerned, I created what I call an execution framework. So what is the kangaroo tail? Well, how do you identify the trade opportunity? Where is it? Is it at a key level, right? It can't just be in the middle of nowhere. Is it rejecting a daily level, a camera, a measured move, different thing? Did price move up from a lower area before forming the kangaroo tail, right? So if it was just going sideways and consolidating and then it punched up, it's not necessarily the best setup. And then did the first breakout level have room to the left? I don't know if anybody's watching this, but I'll keep recording it just to show the different parts. And then there's more to the where. And then the when. Well, when do you get in? Did the kangaroo tail form near at a significant resistance level? And then does it have a long upper wick? Does it have a small body near the low? Is there little to no lower wick? Is the open and close or the body within the range of the previous candle? So I'm just getting back to these are the rules that I follow. And then just to make it, oops, there's a few more pages. There's six parts to it, but just to make it simpler, once you know the strategy, then there's a checklist, right? And this is something you can do on paper, or if you know it well enough, you know what all these are. And then 4, 5, and 6 are not necessarily stuff that you do during the trade, but it's where, how do you manage it, when do you manage it, where your stop placements, and where you take profit. And that's what I mean by being mechanical, right? That's the way that I trade. And that's why, since I've been live here, I'm going, I'm not taking a lot of trades, However, I'm here just to share my thought process and to share information like the execution framework or the checklist, and just to share what it is that I see. And when I do see my setup appear, then I know I've got, 4 of these, the kangaroo tail, the double top, and they both have 2 sides, right? The kangaroo tail can be a long or a short. Double top can have a double bottom. A break and retest can be long or short. And then the other continuation that I'm getting back into is the fib, which is basically the same setup as a break and retest. It is the same setup as a break and retest. It's just another type of continuation. And I don't mind sharing this stuff. If ever people are, just reach out to me, and I'll share this stuff with you guys. The 6 steps were taken also from the Naked Forex. Great book. And just on how to set up a really good plan for your trades. Okay, so the first half hour has gone by. PMI has been reported. I didn't see any big spike. I didn't see the SPY. Actually, I wasn't on the screen right at 10 a.m. But now that the first 30-minute candle has printed, I tend to look a little bit closer now for my setups. AMD, right? Possible double top. I want to see where it is on the cams. So I'm going to bring up AMD over here on the 5. There you go. So it's in this higher range here of liquidity. There's another, that's just a 5-minute, but if we go to the 30-minute, there's a big gap here. right above this range. It is at R4. It has made it above R4. So for me to short this, it would have to print a bearish candle under R4. Volume is descending, even with these two that you would think are really starting to buy. Volume was decreasing. On this candle right here, volume is a little bit higher. And 209.13, this might be a valid setup for a double top. How much time? 30 seconds. So I want to see, what does it do? How does it print this candle here? 10 seconds left. There's possible support at R3 here, but didn't close super bearish. Zoom into the 2. I'd want to see a bearish 2 or 1 minute candle. Right, and that's also part of my rules. For my entry, I need to see selling. And right now, on a micro time frame, on 2 minutes or 1 minute, we see indecision. Right, we're just chopping around here. So I don't see any real selling yet. So that was AMD. I'm just chopping sideways. We've got decent volume on everything, but everybody's very hesitant. AMD's putting in that that bearish candle. 208.62.
I was looking at Nike. It formed a low. It bounced. I drew a fib. It was kind of in the golden zone, but what I didn't like is the last 2 completed 5-minute candles. It formed tweezer tops. I had around 46.05. So I think it's still heading further south. So that negated any potential long trade for me. Yeah, when I see something like that, tweezer tops,
Yeah.
it's either way, right? Or tweezer bottoms are very strong for a long, but that automatically just checks that off in my book.
Yeah, well, it's rejection, right? I mean, would you consider this? I don't know if you're seeing my screen here. Would you consider these as tweezer tops? These 2 5-minute candles here?
Yeah. The last 2 5-minute completed candles.
Yeah. So we're seeing rejection there. So for those that are new to reading candles, there's my entry on no, it needs to close. I'm looking at the 2-minute candle here, and it is going into a 2-minute fair value gap. But if it were to close near the bottom, 208.40 area, and then break that low, there's possible support right here. There was a lot of selling here. That's a lot of volume for a small candle here. So that's why I wait for confirmation. Right? And it's not confirming yet. But anyway, these are the wicks here, especially now we're on a 2-minute time frame. Zoom in. Right, these wicks here are rejection, right? Price is trying to go back, get up there, and it's being pushed down. Trying to go up, being pushed down. Trying to go up, being pushed down. However, I've heard the analogy once that if this is a sledgehammer and a sledgehammer and a sledgehammer, eventually that sledgehammer could break, right? And if it does, oftentimes what happens is that you've got a big spike. So let's see what happens here. There's a big bullish candle there on AMD.
Yeah, INTC, I'm also looking at that, and that thing just ripped.
Yeah.
It pulled back only to around the 20, the first bid level around 23%.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't like it buying at those levels. I still feel like I'm buying at premium levels, and my rule is like, don't buy at premium levels. You must buy at value or discount. You got to buy down.
Yeah.
Right.
In this range over here, Evo, do you mind explaining what value would be and what premium would be?
Well, premium would be more or less, and what is that 5-minute chart you're looking at?
That's 2. Sorry, let me go to a 5. There you go.
Okay. So what I would equate to premium, like look at the fourth green candle. Like that's premium level, and then you had a little bit of a pullback. What I would like to see, value would be probably about 50% of that range.
Yeah.
And discount would be kind of towards the bottom of that initial 5-minute candle.
Yeah.
And so I think as traders, for me, you know, I'm done with donkey trades, buying at premium levels. Like my rule is you are not allowed to buy at premium levels. It must pull back to value around 50-ish% or discount, which would be all the way back down. Because that's where my greatest R lies. If I buy at premium levels, those are just, for me, those are just cowboy trades. And I don't like the way that it feels. You know, I feel like I'm just hanging on for every breath, because if it just moves a little bit down, I'm screwed. And it's all risk. There's no reward for me. It's got to come back.
Premium. You're calling this value?
Somewhere around 50% of that initial range.
Yeah. And what do you call the low? Do you call it discount or?
Yeah, discount.
Yeah.
And
So,
it's nothing that I've invented. It's all out there.
I like that idea. It's just the term. I wasn't sure if everybody uses discount. That's what I use: discount, value, and premium. And you know what? This is not just in stock trading; it's in everything. Right? Whenever I teach this stuff, it's supply and demand. It's a very simple concept that translates into stocks, and on a micro level, it translates into candles. Right? That's what happens, that people are buying at the premium right now, but there are people that will buy at premium because they think that price is going to go higher. You know, but I'm like you. I will not buy at premium. I'll short at premium. For sure, I'll short at premium. And I'll aim my short at premium here. Let's say this put in a kangaroo tail right here, right? And then this was red. Then I'd be shorting, but I'd be aiming for value, right? And hopefully you can get 3R by getting back to value. If I'm not shorting here and I can see that stair stepping back to value, and then it puts in a kangaroo tail, this would be called a trendy kangaroo because the trend is higher. Trendy kangaroo comes down, and then this closes green and we make a new high, then I'll buy because you're buying at value. Basically what you just said, right? We have the same trade book.
Yeah,
right?
and you can apply that for like a trend like we just did there, or literally like candle by candle basis. What's very interesting for me is like in this trend here, once the premium level is established, if it pulls back and it breaks through that premium, what you want to do is see it come back later to retest that premium. And if there's buyers, now that former premium becomes a discount area. But you got to wait for that, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like letting something break out. Don't chase, and letting it come back to that breakout area, what was a former premium area. If buyers show up, now it's considered a discount.
Yeah.
And that's where you want to get in.
Yeah. And before it becomes discount, it'll in between that range will be value.
Yeah.
Right. So what was premium, when it becomes discount, well, before it becomes discount, it's going to be value. It's basically the middle of the range, right? Or the golden zone, right? That's what the golden zone of fibs is. It's basically coming back into value.
Yeah.
So anyway, hopefully that makes sense. Let's go back to this and get this out of the way. There you go. Anything shaping up? That AMD double top that I was thinking would be a double, it's no longer a double top. It's off my books now. Just chopping around this area. If this candle were to come up and reject this area, it could be a double top again. But from where it is right now, it would have to come and make a new high. That's according to my rules. And yes, I have specific rules. There's some of them that are breakable. Actually, in my trade book, it'll say it's not a deal breaker, but, trade with caution. Excuse me. Like the kangaroo tail. I like the kangaroo tail to be red, right, if I'm shorting. But if it's got a really, really small body, it can be green. Because the difference between the open and the close is so minimal. I like RVol to be at 80 or more, right? But I will take a trade if it's at 70. I probably will not take a trade, depending on what it is. If it's, here, let me say this. Let's say we're making new highs on Apple, and we're about to break a higher time frame high with low RVol. Let's say it's 50% RVol, so the volume is minimal. I'm not expecting that high to be broken and to start making new higher, because the buyers and the sellers just aren't there. So the reversal, a sell from that level, from premium back down to value, is more likely with low RVol. Right? Hopefully that makes sense. If anybody has something other to say or you disagree, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. I love to hear all kinds of different perspectives. Yeah, a lot of sideways action here. Market, I'm assuming markets are, I didn't check and I should know this, but markets are closed on Friday. I don't know if Evo's still there. You're frozen on my screen.
Yeah, still here. I was just looking at my longer term XLE position, which is tanking. That's energy ETF. And man, it was up really nicely. But I think with Trump's address to the nation this evening and late, I'm thinking I'm bailing just to at least make some money on this before it gets to my break.
Do you mind repeating? I missed the beginning there. I don't know if you lagged a little bit, but what were you in?
XLE. It's the State Street ETF energy.
Okay.
And I was up really nice just a couple of days ago, but now it's everything is pointing that this thing is really heading south. So I think I'm going to just bail and make a little bit of money on it.
Yeah. Was that?
I can always get in at a lower price, but.
Okay, so markets are closed on Friday for Easter, Good Friday, but they are open on Monday. U.S. markets open for normal hours on Easter Monday. This period, but closed on Easter Sunday, on Easter Friday, Good Friday. XLE. I'm sorry, Ivo. You answered my question, and I was distracted. So
What was that? No.
you said it was a swing trade, right?
Sort of, yeah. I was hoping to hang on to it for a longer period of time, but it's really pulling back, and so
Yeah. Was
I
it a
just
long
sold
on
my whole
XLE?
position.
Was it a long?
Oh yeah, I was long $57, and so when it was at around 60 something, it was doing pretty well.
So how long have you been in? Am I looking at the right thing? XLE?
Yeah, XLE. I forget how long I've been into it,
Oh,
but
okay. It's been a while, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't take any profits. I was thinking we might even push past that. I normally don't trade energy or oil, but so I made a little bit, not much, but
yeah.
at least it was asymmetric in its results. But before it was like that would have been a quadrupled what I just took now. But
Yeah.
that's what happens.
Is that something that you've got in your rules? Do you have like a take profit where, if it gets to this or that's my target, I'm taking it off at this level or minus whatever level? Is that something in your rule? But basically, I'll let you answer that. And then I'm curious to know, do you have different rules for trades as opposed to swing trades or positions?
Actually, this part of my long-term portfolio, so I just felt like it could become a swing trade, but oil and energy, I'm kind of new to it. I know I invest in other ETFs, and I think it's a lot more volatile for me. So they was thinking if it might push even further north, given the geopolitical climate, that I'll just kind of let it run. But then the news of the last couple of days made me kind of think that it's probably time to pull out, because if there's any resolution at all overseas, oil is just going to plummet big time, especially if they don't end up bombing the island. But you never know. He may make his address and saying we're sending thousands of people to the island, so it may rocket back up. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've got other long-term positions in Move, VTI, DIA, XME, metals and mining, XLB, which is these are all State Street ETFs.
Yeah.
And they're great. I mean, they offer dividends. The expense ratios are relatively low, except the metals and mining one. But yeah, those are all part of my long-term portfolios.
Yeah. As far as long-term is concerned, VO 0.03% MER, and it's a whole market, or sorry, the S&P 500. And this is something that I put my daughters in. This, if you go on a daily, right, you dollar cost average in this baby over time, this thing just goes over time, over a long period of time. This thing goes up, right? And when you're dollar cost averaging, right, I ended up buying share. If this was an actual bottom here, then over the past few weeks, been buying on discount.
Exactly. Yeah, I bought
Right.
around 590, I think, or 580, upper 580s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's nice to kind of it's fun to look at the charts and just wait for it to get to maybe a simple moving average or just a dip buy.
Yeah.
It just feels really good. You're just getting it on sale.
Yeah. SPLG is similar. It's just lower cost. Right. However, at this point, depending on your broker, you can buy fractional shares of this. Right. With interactive brokers, you can tell that you want to buy $100 a month or $100 every 2 weeks, and it'll just go buy whatever fraction that gives you VOO or SPY or whatever it is. So yeah, long-term investing is the way that I teach it. It's absolutely long-term. It's 10, 15, 25 years away. For my daughters, it's, you know, possibly 40 years away. And you set it and forget it.
Yeah.
That's what I love about long-term investing.
Yeah.
5. There you go. We're talking about all kinds of stuff today, so at least the time goes by fast for me, which is no, it's great, and hopefully it's beneficial for the people listening. I know that my students that have watched these on YouTube after the fact, it's beneficial for them. But like I said in the Discord the other day, if anybody has stuff that they want to ask or stuff that they want us to concentrate on, don't hesitate. Put questions in the comments or send me a DM, and I'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. AMD, now that it's putting in this wick here, it could be setting up for that double top. So I want to see how does it, because it seems to have rejected the top there. I want to see if this ends up being, and it's too late because it just closed, but if that second top here becomes a KT, a kangaroo tail, then that's basically 2 strategies in one, especially if it took out the highs, right? Which this one did not. And just to be clear, it did not turn into a KT. But if it had taken out the top here and closed near the bottom and quickly made a new low, then that's my double top as well as the KT strategy, which can be incredibly successful. Full disclosure, it was not. And again, the fact that it chopped around here, I'm not crazy about, but it did come from a low, right? It is going in and putting in a top. So that's how I describe it. It needs to come from a lower area to put in that top. I don't like that it chopped around here in pre-market, but it doesn't negate the fact that it made a top. It's pulling back, puts in a little bit of a half circle area, and then seems to be rejecting the highs here. And then I want to see what's the rest of the market doing. I wouldn't mind shorting this, especially if SPY and Qs were making new lows or NVIDIA was starting to break down. But right now we're just going sideways, so I don't trust it. And when I was
good time to stay out of the market.
Right now, I'm staying out. I'm going to be looking at my futures once I log off here. I'm going to be looking at fib levels on the futures. I want to see what happens, especially around 11 o'clock. 10:30 to 11 has been very promising for futures markets, but it's a weird week. Like you said, there's a speech tonight by the president. Friday is the markets are closed. Didn't I just say that the PMI and the numbers were coming in on Friday? Let me go back to the economic calendar here. What did they? Friday. Yeah, the numbers, unemployment and stuff are coming in on Friday. Unemployment rate, non-farm is coming in on Friday. Can somebody confirm, is the market closed on Friday?
I think it is.
I'm pretty sure it is. It's just odd that these numbers are coming out on a holiday. The reason I'm asking is I know in Canada they are. I know.
Yeah, they're closed. Noisy and NASDAQ, they're closed on April 3rd.
Good Friday. Yeah, but United States Good. Okay, it is saying that it is a holiday here. I'll share what I'm looking at here. Right, in investing.com, the calendar, if you go to this week, you'll see Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. I didn't realize that the US flag was there. I did see the UK and Canada. Don't know why Canada's there 3 times. I guess we're really important. And so, yeah, it's a holiday, but we are getting non-farm payroll numbers on Friday morning as well.
So Cheryl, when I look at the SPY and Qs in the 5-minute, I see this nice W pattern with sort of like a double bottom, potential triple top, but the second part of the double bottom, the second half of the W's, we got a higher low put in. I don't know. Are you seeing that too?
Hang on a second. Let me go to the 5-minute. Let me get this down. Yes, closed on Friday. Thank you for sharing that in the chat, that the market is closed on Friday. Are you using pre-market data or just from the...
A little bit of pre-market, yeah, okay. Since around I'm Pacific, that's 5:40. That'd be around 8:40 a.m. Eastern time. From there on, kind of like a W there, double bottom, higher low. Once the market opened, yeah, and I'm seeing that also on the Qs.
Yeah. So what does that tell you?
I don't know. It could be a triple top if it gets rejected there, but
yeah.
What I like is that the second half of that W is higher than the first half. So it's kind of like we put in a higher low, and that low of the second half right there, that represents a simple moving average 200 on the 5-minute chart.
Yeah.
But it's still chopping around right now. So I want to see it break that you know, the high point, the middle point there, and see if it goes anywhere, or if it acts as resistance and it becomes a triple top.
Yeah, then that's possible, right?
So yeah, that's my cue to, I'm not going to do anything now until the market picks a direction.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at MES here. Restore. Let's take these drawings off. This is where, as far as the long is concerned, and I said I would share this, friend. You know what? I'll take a minute just to share what it is that I did here. This was in Sim. I was going to do it in the Top Step account, but then it happened so fast. It's like, you know what? Even though it is simulated money, I don't want to risk my Top Step combine on something like that. But it ended up working very quickly. So yeah, I'm going to be looking at this area right here for possible rejection. But further on, if it comes and retests at this area, this is the 50% retracement from the massive buying yesterday, like this massive candle right here. Again, I don't know if that was news, but it's obvious that that was a level. So that's where I started the fib, and I brought it into the high over here. This is where we really started reversing. I wanted to see, does it come and retest this area? Sorry, this area right here. That's the golden zone right there from this range. The longer the range is, this is a 5-minute, the longer the fib is, the less I trust it. If that makes sense. I prefer the fib to be closer. Right now that it's like almost 24 hours, right? It's from yesterday at 12:30 and we're approaching now, it's 10:30. It's a 24-hour fib. I don't trust it as much as, you know, a fib that forms and retests in an hour or a couple hours or in a couple minutes like it did over here. Let's zoom in here. It is 10:30. I'm going to be walking away shortly, but this is what I did yesterday. So I was actually talking to a mall, sharing something with them, and while this was happening, so we had a big spike, right? And then it rejected right away. So I wanted to see, I put a fib from here to the top where it started rejecting. And right here, right? This was the first 5 minutes, second 5 minute. Right here, it tested that level. So I zoomed into the 2. And sure enough, on the 2 here, it put in this long tail wick. I don't know if I don't know if my long tool is in the right place here. So let's go back. Actually, no, it was on the 1. It was on the 1 minute. And that's why it happened so quickly that, okay, I'm not risking top step money on this. But that's where the entry would have been. Stop at the bottom of the wick, right? And go back to a 2 minute just so that it happens quicker and very quickly. Come on. Or wasn't it very good? Oh, yeah, it was right. No, it wasn't that quickly. Go to the 5. There it is. Okay. That was at 12:45. No, it hit it right here. Sorry. I'm looking at it, going back to the 100% here. The trade, it worked right away. So again, I didn't take it. But that's what I mean. That fibs that are very compressed seem to work quicker than fibs that are 24 hours out. Like, whoops, I'm still in replay. Like this one. Right, but I still have an alert here. I'll look at it at this point. So that's what worked yesterday. I did not take any trades on my live account or on my top step yesterday. I'm still very hesitant. I don't like anything right now, and it's at the end of the day. Yeah, I'm not taking a lot of trades, but they're not showing up. I don't know about you, Evo. I don't know about everybody else in the chat. If you're in the same boat, there's just not a lot of setups as far as the ones that I like. There's not much that's showing up.
Agreed. Yeah. Usually I find, Jill, that lately I've had days of no setups, but when the setups appear, then they're all over. There may be like half a dozen setups in a day.
Yeah.
But like right now, like if you look at the SPY and the Qs, definitely real rejection, increased selling volume. You got your northern wicks in the last 5 minute candles. So that to me looks like a triple top now.
Yeah.
And clearly the sellers are still saying, nope, we're in control.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think anything if I look at potential trades, I need to look at potential, like I don't short, I just use inverse ETFs, so that'll be things I'll be kind of focusing on. But I think I'm gonna just get some breakfast, come back in about half hour and see if anything has changed.
Yeah. So it's great sharing with you. I think a lot of people were saying that that it's the same for us, for them, sorry, that there's just not a lot of setups lately, and it's okay. I mean, I don't want to force anything, and that's the thing. I don't force anything. 2026 so far has been the least trades I've taken in the last X amount of years. The first 3 months, it's the lowest trades I've ever taken in a quarter. It's very it was a green quarter, but not massively. And it's like I said, and not a lot of trades. There's a lot of unknown in the market. So there are no trending days, right? Where you see that, okay, the buyers are in control and we're really going. Yesterday was a bit of a trending day, but even then it was a hard day to trade. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. I'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully you guys will be there as well, and we'll see everybody on Thursday. I think Avi said he was going to try to be on around 12:30 this afternoon. I'm sure he'll put something in the chat saying that he's going to be in. All right. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Check you
Evo.
out later. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Bye now.